Thanks, Clive. Hello there, good evening. Welcome to Look North on the programme tonight. West Yorkshire Police are criticised after an officer was tipped off that he faced sex offence allegations.
I was told that because he was tipped off that they'd made the decision not to arrest him on Monday or seize any of his electronics because there was no element of surprise. It just didn't make any sense to me.
A woman says the tip-off happened before she'd made a formal statement. Also tonight, the teenage boy accused of killing Harvey Wilgoose tells court he experienced racist bullying. The parent of murdered backpacker Peter Falconio says they still hold out hope his body will be found after his killer dies in prison. And a really good flower show. Wentworth Woodhouse hosts the best in botanicals as well as brilliant BMX bikes.
And it's been a drier and brighter day out there today, but is there any more rain in the forecast this week? I'll have more details for you towards the end of the programme.
Hello there, good evening. Thank you for your company this Wednesday night. A woman has complained to West Yorkshire Police after an officer she made sexual offence allegations against was tipped off within hours. The woman, who can't be named, has told Look North that the officer was informed about her complaint before she'd even made a formal statement. A criminal investigation was carried out, but no charges have been brought. The woman has also complained about the language used by an officer during the investigation. She's been speaking to our Home Affairs correspondent, Emma Glasby.
I have been asked if I'm a woman scorned. I've been asked what I'm normally like in bed. I felt the whole way through like I've constantly had to defend myself.
Kate, not her real name, made an allegation of rape against a West Yorkshire police officer she'd been in a relationship with. She told police she believed she'd had her drink spiked by him and alleged he deliberately passed on a sexually transmitted infection, had been controlling and coercive and harassed her. Kate says she was upset by how the complaint was handled from the start. Her words are spoken by an actor.
Within less than 12 hours and me not yet giving a formal statement, the person I'd made a complaint about, who was a serving police officer, had already been tipped off and made aware by someone in the force.
What was the impact of him being tipped off that this complaint had been made?
I was told that because he was tipped off that they'd made the decision not to arrest him on Monday or seize any of his electronics because there was no element of surprise. It just didn't make any sense to me that they wouldn't take his electronics, but ironically throughout the process I was repeatedly asked to hand mine in or provide information off them.
Kate says the officer was interviewed but never arrested or suspended. An email to her from West Yorkshire Police says the Crown Prosecution Service needs notes from her support workers and counsellor. It asks if she'll consent to a full phone download and asks her to provide details of all previous sexual partners so they can be spoken to. Kate says she was also upset by the language used by a male officer.
He sat and said to me, "I think you still love him." It was basically said, "You will be described in court as a woman scorned." The fact that I was asked, "What are you normally like in bed?" the language used was so inappropriate.
The charity Survive supports victims of sexual violence in North Yorkshire and says investigations should be focused on the suspect.
I think it's quite disappointing that a police officer has used language that's caused further harm, actually. I think using phrases like woman scorned, I can see no reason why someone would say that. What she has been asked to provide sounds like they're very much focused on her and her behaviour rather than what she has actually said.
This case raises the issue of police forces investigating their own officers, something victim support wants to change.
Independence is so crucial. At the very least, a different police force should be investigating these crimes, because again, it really makes that victim survivor feel that they've really been listened to, and it's going to be investigated properly.
West Yorkshire Police told us it's received a complaint which is being investigated by the Professional Standards Directorate. It adds that as part of a criminal investigation, a file of available evidence was submitted to the Crown Prosecution Service. After reviewing the file, it was advised no charges would be brought. Meanwhile, the CPS told us, we understand the importance of focusing investigations on the suspect, not the complainant, and not seeking material from complainants inappropriately. Any material requested from the complainant was to help support her account of what had happened.
My case is done. You know, that can't be changed. But it has to be highlighted, the failings of the police and how they're treating women who report offences such as this against serving officers.
Kate is now waiting for a response to her complaint. Emma Glasby, BBC Look North.
Next tonight, a 15-year-old accused of killing Harvey Wilgoose in a Sheffield school has told a court today that he had a problem with anger and he couldn't control it. As his defence case started, he said he'd been bullied through school and his home life made him angry too. He denies murder but has admitted manslaughter. Abby Giola was in the court. Abby, proceedings are slightly different today, aren't they, because of the defendant's age?
Yes, the defendant is 15, which means we can't name him. When he was in court today, he had an intermediary with him. She's not there to answer questions on his behalf, but just to support him through the proceedings. He also had a fidget toy in his hand as he stood in the witness box. Now, the judge and the legal teams have removed their wigs as well, and they're taking extra time to explain the questions to him and when he can expect to get a break. Now, Harvey Wilgoose, he was 15 when he died after being attacked at All Saints High School in Sheffield. The jury have already seen CCTV footage of that incident. Today, Harvey's family were in court to listen to the case, and the defendant's family were also in the public gallery as well.
And told the court that he'd been bullied, didn't he?
Yeah, the court heard the defendant describe who throughout primary school and then high school he'd been bullied because of a medical condition. He also said he'd been subject to racist bullying as well. He said at high school that bullying also happened online, that he'd get messages on social media, not just from people he went to school with, but from other people who were strangers to him but knew them. He said that sometimes there were threats. He said somebody once sent him a message that said, "I'll stab you up," and that left him feeling scared. The court heard about an incident as well where at his previous school he'd been involved in a fight because of bullying over his medical condition. He said the bullying made him feel angry. He got angry quickly and he couldn't control it.
Abby, tell us a little bit about his home life.
Well, the court heard as well about his life at home with his parents. He said that his mum had mental health problems and at times things like the housework and the cooking were left to him. His dad wasn't home all of the time, but when he was, he had slapped his son, and he said at times he'd been slapped quite hard. The defendant said his home life made him feel angry too. Now, he has denied the murder of Harvey but has previously admitted to manslaughter, and he'll be back in court tomorrow to give more evidence in his defence.
Abby, thank you. You are watching Wednesday's Look North. Still to come on tonight's programme.
In Sheffield, this is the one night of the year when the city centre turns into a cycle racing circuit. We'll bring you a taste of the Sheffield Grand Prix shortly on the programme.
Before that, we're going to hear from the parents of the murdered British backpacker Peter Falconio, who said they still hold out hope his remains will be found after his killer died in prison. Mr Falconio, who's from Hepworth near Huddersfield, was killed in the Australian outback in July 2001. Bradley Murdoch died in prison while serving a life sentence at a jail in the Alice Springs, having never revealed what he did with the 28-year-old's body. Olivia Richwald has the story.
Peter Falconio and Joanne Lees went to Australia for the backpacking trip of a lifetime. But in July 2001, on a remote road in the outback, he was shot in the head and she was kidnapped and tied up by Bradley Murdoch. Joanne escaped, but Peter's body was never found. Murdoch was convicted of his murder in 2005, and he died yesterday without ever revealing where he had dumped Peter's body. The BBC spoke to Peter's parents, Joan and Luciano Falconia, at their house this morning. They said they felt relief that Murdoch had died, like a weight had been lifted. They released a new picture of their son Peter that was taken in Pisa shortly before he travelled to Australia, and a statement in which they said, "We don't want to let him ruin our lives more than he already has. The awful thing is our family's future with Peter was cruelly taken away. Today we instead focus on the 3 children we have left and our grandchildren. We didn't have much faith, but we were hoping Bradley John Murdoch would reveal where Peter was before he died. But even now we still hold out hope that his remains will be found." A bench outside the post office where Peter's parents worked means he's never been forgotten at home in West Yorkshire.
Everybody was devastated because he was such a lovely bloke and he came from such a loving family. His mum and dad used to run the post office. I've known the family most of my life, and it just devastated everybody.
Well, it was, as you say, it was very sad, you know, and such a mysterious carry on, you know, at the time, trying to find him.
In this day and age, we should be able to, get more information and find out what happened.
The police officer who led the investigation in Australia at the time said Murdoch was a narcissist who had never cooperated with police despite repeated and recent efforts to find Peter's remains.
The night that Joanne escaped and we lost Peter he lost control, and as a result of that, he felt wronged and he felt angry, and to gain some control was to never cooperate and have that power over the Falconio family by not disclosing any details of what he did with Peter to allow us to narrow that search.
Peter was killed aged 28. His family have now lived for 24 years without knowing where his body lies. Police in Australia have never closed the case. Olivia Richwald, BBC Look North, near Home Firth.
Next tonight, Nessa Ahmad was a British Army interpreter in Helmand Province in Afghanistan and came to the UK in 2016. He's now living in Leeds. He found out his personal details may have been leaked yesterday afternoon through an email from the government. Nessa is too distressed to talk to us, but his daughter Nagina told us it's been a horrific couple of days for the family.
He received 2 emails. The first one was about just the information of the breach, and then he received a follow-up email to do a self-check. After the self-check, he got the result saying that his data is likely to be affected by the breach, and he suddenly got disassociated. He started shivering, shaking, which we have to call his doctor from Up Courage to give us grounding techniques to bring him back.
When you say disassociated, what do you mean by that?
He doesn't respond to us. He's like, he just doesn't respond. He can't see us. Like everything's blacked out for him.
He just went into shock.
Yeah, he's just gone into shock, into flashback.
Yeah, your dad said earlier that yesterday was a really dark day.
100%.
How is he today?
He's better than before, but the stress of the breach, his data, my grandma's data, it's all putting a lot of pressure on him.
You mentioned your grandma's data, and she's the one that you're really concerned with at the moment because she's still over in Afghanistan, isn't she?
Yes, she's currently still in Afghanistan living with one of my dad's childhood friends who is currently in danger as well, because if the data leaked has gone in the hands of the Taliban, they can find his, because in the application form we have supplied them with my dad's childhood friend's address, phone number, all the information is his. If they get their hands on that data, they can track down my grandmother and my dad's childhood friend.
What impact has the last couple of days had on your family?
A very negative impact, especially on my father, who is currently battling against PTSD, CPTSD, and this constantly triggering him and bringing back flashbacks and scars of his battles with the British service.
So your dad suffers PTSD because of his time serving alongside the British Army?
Yes, that's correct.
What would you like the MOD to do about the data breach?
I hope that MOD takes full responsibility of this. If it wasn't for this breach, no one would have been suffering like this. My father wouldn't have been triggered. My grandmother wouldn't be scared. Wouldn't be under all that stress in Afghanistan. And they need to take full responsibility for this. We need transparency and we need accountability for this. And they need to provide comprehensive protection for those who are affected by this. And they need to be ashamed, because if you cannot protect lives, why put lives in danger?
All our best to your family.
Thank you so much.
Thank you for being here.
Thank you so much. It was my pleasure.
In a statement, the Minister of Defence, John Healey, said that to date, 36,000 Afghans have been accepted by Britain through relocation schemes. However, none of them can carry on in perpetuity. He also apologised on behalf of the government to all those whose information was compromised. Let's have a look at some other stories coming into the newsroom now. A man has been jailed after he killed a footballer with a single punch to the head in an unprovoked attack at York railway station. Mackenzie DiCoccio was sentenced at Leeds Crown Court today to 6 years and 8 months in prison after pleading guilty to manslaughter. 32-year-old James Hitchcock died after he was struck from behind following a night out with friends in December. The York Central MP, Rachel Mascall's, confirmed she's been suspended from the Parliamentary Labour Party. Miss Mascall is one of 4 MPs suspended after she led a rebellion against the government's welfare proposals early this month, describing them at the time as omnishambles. The MP says she had to take a stand.
I don't see myself as a rebel. I really focus on supporting a Labour government, but I'm not afraid to debate and to speak up for what's in the interests of my constituents, whether it's about the planet, whether it's about international situations or domestic situations. All of these policy contexts are important. I think where the party needs to move forward is to think, how do we debate within ourselves and ensure that our true Labour values are really upheld in all those circumstances?
Let's turn something a little lighter now, shall we? And cycling. We've been able to watch some of our best local riders at Otley and Ilkley already this month. Well, tonight is the one night of the year when Sheffield City Centre is turned into a racing circuit. Paul Ogden's there for us tonight, and there's some young talent on show, I hear.
Absolutely, it's a showcase for young and up-and-coming talent, Amy, and we're going to speak to one of them very shortly. I should say this, anybody that enjoyed Ilkley and Otley in particular would absolutely love Sheffield Grand Prix, particularly because there's this added characteristic of the cobbled. You can see the surface on which the riders are racing, which makes things a bit precarious if it's wet, which mercifully it is not tonight. Harry Hudson, a real up-and-comer from the Harrogate Nova race team that we're so familiar with on Look North, is with us tonight. Harry, thanks for being with us. What are the riders trying to apply skill-wise and avoid risk-wise on this surface?
Well, crit racing is usually technical, so a lot of technique comes into it in the corners, just holding your speed and carrying it. Obviously, if you go too much, then you crash, but you want to be on the limit. But as always in cycling, there's always the fitness point, so you need to not to go too hard too early. There's a lot of tactics, so it's always interesting to do a crit.
Absolutely. Specific skill, isn't it, crit racing? As distinct from your kind of racing, which we hope you're going to apply professionally in the very long term. You're very modest about your own career, but you won Junior Liège-Bastogne-Liège, a very hilly, prestigious race in Belgium. What are your ambitions now? Having just completed your A-levels, where is that kind of win as a racing cyclist going to take you, you think?
Well, the hope's to race professionally for as long as possible. Obviously, I want to make it my career, what I do for a living. So yeah, Liège definitely helped with that. It was a big race, a big target of mine. So yeah, I just want to race at the highest level I can and see where it goes.
That is a notoriously mountainous part of Belgium we're talking about, where you won, Harry. You're a certain shape of a climber, I would suggest, but you, by the sounds of things, are really going down the Tom Pidcock, the Sam Watson route, if your long-term future turns out how you want it to be.
I mean, yeah, it'd be a dream to race like Tom Pidcock in the biggest teams, doing all the biggest races. That'd just be so cool. So yeah, I'd love to do that.
Would you bother with this kind of slightly dangerous-looking criterium circuit racing these days?
Well, crit races are always fun, but yeah, they're a bit sketchy sometimes. So I think that'd be a decision I'd make then.
Well, good luck with your A-level results first and foremost, Harry, but also with your future plans, we hope, as a professional rider. Harry Hudson, yet more evidence that the Harrogate Nova team that we had so much on Look North, particularly during the Grand Départ, the Tour de France, etc., is a real development talent pool for riders from Yorkshire and beyond. Racing here continues, by the way, in Sheffield City Centre with the Women's Elite featuring Robin Clay, the winner in Otley, and Cam Mason, the British National Circuit Racing champion. He's on the start list for the men's race to climax the evening. And if you want to drive your car into Sheffield, roads open at 11 o'clock again tonight. So much bike racing to enjoy.
Yeah, lovely evening for bike racing. Thank you for that, Olgie. Enjoy it, I know you will. Lindsay Burrow, the widow of Leeds Rhinos player Rob Burrow, has received her honorary doctorate at Leeds Beckett University today. The award recognises the support she gave to her late husband through his battle with motor neurone disease. She received the honour at a graduation ceremony at Leeds Arena alongside 8,000 students.
I don't do it for the rewards, I don't do it for the accolades, you do it because you care, and I was so fortunate to have been Rob's carer throughout his illness with MND, you know, and I would do that all again in a heartbeat. So to be here today, to receiving this, this is not just for me, this is for the whole MND community, and it's for the carers as well. I feel really passionate about the work that carers do, and to try and shine a light on the work that carers do, and I've seen firsthand as an NHS physiotherapist the power of kindness and compassion, and I'll try and continue to champion that in all that I do.
Richly deserved, and it was a beautiful speech that Lindsay gave. Now, the Sheffield-based production company Warp Films, that's behind the hit TV drama Adolescence, says it's delighted getting 13 nominations for Emmy Awards.
Jamie, if you do not sit down, want to sit down! You do not tell me when to sit down!
The Netflix drama has been shortlisted 13 times by the prestigious American Television Academy, including for Outstanding Limited Series. The 15-year-old star Owen Cooper has made history by being one of the youngest actors ever to be nominated. Now look at this. It's a flower show with a difference, and it opened today at the stately home Wentworth Woodhouse in South Yorkshire. So alongside the exquisite floral designs, one garden in particular stood out because it's inspired by Rotherham's Children's Capital of Culture. The garden designer says it's the first time that a BMX track and a DJ booth have ever featured at an RHS flower show. Well, I think it works, don't you? Beth Parsons has been to see it.
This garden is all about celebrating young people and green spaces, because it's a big theme in the Children's Capital of Culture Festival year. Young people are so passionate about getting outside and making use of these spaces, but it doesn't have to be boring. Like, they can be fun, there can be BMXers, and what's really important about this is showing the RHS. You're not in Chelsea anymore. If you're going to come to Rotherham and do your show, we're going to have our space, and it's going to be really fun, and it's
this generation in this area want out of a natural space and a garden. So what we've got going on is we've got this pump track, which is the technological term for a BMX track. They said they wanted white and yellow planting, so I've incorporated a lot of white and yellow plants within the garden, and then also I wanted it to be reflective of the wildflower meadow below it. And then over here we've got a cabin and some containers, and we've got a DJ booth in there as well, playing some music throughout the show, and that's really a space to hang out.
I thought flower shows were quite posh, but then I thought BMX, and I was like, oh yeah, Mum, can I go? One of our coaches signed me up for it. I didn't really have a choice, but I did want to go really bad. Yeah.
And how do you feel about maybe having a bit of go at gardening?
I really like the vibrant colours of the flowers and stuff like that, and just nature in general.
It must have been fairly unusual for you when you first heard that you could be doing something at a flower show. That doesn't normally go with BMXing, does it?
Not at all, but it's wonderful because it brings different generations together and brings our community together, so a great opportunity. And they came up with a sort of a development plan. They wanted a DJ box, they wanted the jumps and the flowers and different things, and just create something modern and trendy and just something different, really.
What top tips would you give someone if they were BMXing?
Start on flat
That's a brilliant idea, as long as they don't trample over all those lovely flowers with their bikes. Fantastic. Hello, good to see you.
Hello, lovely to see you too.
But they're pleased that they didn't have the weather yesterday.
Yes.
Goodness me, it didn't half sail it down.
Yeah, I think they'll be okay for the next couple of days, but then there is going to be more rain on the way into the weekend. But welcome, of course, of how dry it's been.
Yeah.
Could be some thunderstorms actually on Saturday. But I'll just show you a few pictures from today. This was sent in first thing this morning. I think the best of our weather really was, first thing, but a bit of wispy cloud here and there, lots of blue sky. And then this afternoon there has been quite a bit of cloud around, just 1 or 2 showers, but I think for many of us it has been a mostly dry day today. But as mentioned, there is going to be more rain on the way as we head into the weekend. So thank you as always for sending in your pictures. If you'd like your picture on the telly, you can send it in to us via social media, or you can head straight to the Weather Watchers website. So it's been drier, it's been brighter out there today compared with yesterday. Tomorrow morning we are going to start off with a little bit of sunshine. It's really going to be first thing in the morning, and then it is going to cloud over later on in the day. So a little bit of drizzle, some showers coming in on this warm front, but all eyes are on this thundery plume that's going to pull in on Saturday. So widespread rain on Saturday, and also the risk of some thunderstorms. It's going to stay quite showery also on Sunday and on Monday. So here's your picture through this evening and overnight. It's looking largely dry, winds will be light, and with those clear spells we do run the risk of a few mist and fog patches, those further east. The best of the clear spells remain further west, and our temperatures will fall away to around 12 degrees. So your next high waters then, we have Scarborough at 9:19 tomorrow morning, and then Filey at 9:25. So tomorrow morning, any mistiness, any fog will clear, a little bit of sunshine the further east you are, but cloud is going to pull in from the west, bringing with it just a few spots of drizzle, maybe the odd shower. And tomorrow we're looking at highs of around 24, 25 degrees there across South Yorkshire. So it is going to warm up. Just take a look at our temperatures on Friday. So it's a very short blip with those warm conditions. So we'll be up to 27, maybe even a 28 degrees in places. So very warm on Friday. The risk of a few showers. Again, these could fall heavy, but there's also going to be a good deal of sunshine around on Friday too. And then as we head into the weekend, notice the drop off in temperature. So 22 degrees Saturday and Sunday, feeling much fresher, much cooler, but there is the risk of outbreaks of rain on Saturday, also some thunderstorms too, and it does stay showery on Sunday and Monday. So more rain on the way.
Katerina, thank you very much for that. Make sure you pack your waterproofs if you are out and about. That is it from us, but Kathy Minton will be here with your late news. But from all of us, good night.